What's up, guys, and welcome to the next Crack a Pack video. Today we are opening up a pack of new Phyrexia. A lot of fantastic stuff in this set. Something I always love about these is that, generally speaking, there's some value in the common and uncommon slots. So even if you open something like a Axiom Probe, you feel pretty good even if your rare sucks. Hopefully our rare doesn't suck, but we will see what we get. Of course, we're going to go through this as if it's a pack one, pick one scenario. So we'll try and figure out what our draft pick would be. But I will go ahead and say right now, I'm not the best drafter, so I'll do the best I can. But we do start off our first common, Ruthless Invasion, 3 and 1 red Phyrexian mana, for a sorcery that says non-artifact creatures can't block this turn. If anybody doesn't know what Phyrexian mana is, you can either pay red or pay 2 life for this. If it was a black Phyrexian mana, same thing, but you have to pay a swamp instead of a mountain. Pretty straightforward, really allowed for some broken stuff. As a mechanic, I think it's fantastic. It's absolutely insane. They didn't print it on too many things that sort of led to broken stuff happening, but there were a few, if we're going to be honest. As far as this card goes, I'm not super excited about it. Non-artifact creatures can't block this turn is like a very aggressive ability that helps you if you're winning, but doesn't really help you if you're losing. Or in a board stall, potentially, but generally speaking, you would it's like a win more card. And I'm generally not a fan of win more cards. Suture Priest is a 1/1 for 1 and a white. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain a life. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, you may have that player lose 1 life. This is an interesting card. I don't really think it's good. To be honest, I do think incidental damage is fantastic, and life gain, while not very exciting, is definitely something that, I mean, it pads your life total. If it's in your deck, it's a bonus. And so this is it's a 1/1, but it is cheap. It's only 2 mana. I mean, it's definitely better than the invasion, but I'm hoping okay, there we go. Vault Scourge, 1/1 for 1 and 1 black Phyrexian mana. It has flying and lifelink. This card's great. This is one of those commons that you're never unhappy to see. It's not necessarily valued very highly, but it's played in a lot of decks. You can play it on turn 1 by paying 2 life and then 1 mana of any color, so it can fit into any color deck, which is really great. It's evasive. It gains you some life. Again, kind of incidental, but it's fantastic. And if you do equip this up with something, which I do believe there are a number of decent equipments in this set, then you can really do some damage. So I love this. I think it's a great card. And there we go. Axiom Probe. Sorcery, 1 blue Phyrexian mana. Look at target player's hand and then draw a card. This card is hugely powerful, effectively free in some cases, which is fantastic. And so I really like this, but that being said, in a limited environment, it's not at its best. I do think there are much better places. Constructed is really where this has its home. Obviously, it was too good of a home because it was banned, but it is really good. In this instance, I don't think I'd really want it, especially not first pick. If I was in a blue deck already, not a bad option, but in general, not too great. Hovermere is 1/2 for 2 generic mana, flying and vigilance. Pretty straightforward creature. I think it's like okay. It's not great. It's like a filler card on 2 mana, excuse me. But I mean, it's fine. It's not very exciting. I'd rather have Vault Scourge. Glistener Elf, 1 green for 1/1 with Infect. So Infect creatures deal their damage in the form of -1/-1 counters, and then if they're dealing damage to a player, the player will get a poison counter instead of losing life. If you get 10 poison counters, you lose the game. So effectively, having Infect in your deck cuts the opponent's life total in half. That's the idea. Glistener Elf is a flagship card for the actual Infect constructed deck. It's the optimal turn 1 play. It's really good. I love it. I don't think it's necessarily great in limited. I don't know. I didn't actually get the opportunity to play this limited environment, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But I think I would rather have Vault Scourge. I'd rather have the evasion, and the extra lifelink I feel like would be somewhat relevant. That being said, there's obviously Infect in this set, so it's not always going to be at its best, but I think I'd prefer to have that. Shriek Raptor is a 2/3 for 3 and 2 white. It has flying and Infect, and again, we just talked about that. I think this is actually really good. I don't think it's fantastic because it is a little bit expensive, But thinking about it, like, it's an infect creature that comes in on 5 and it's dealing 2 damage a turn, which, if it's dealing it straight to the opponent, means that it's a 5-turn clock on its own. And that's only if you don't have other infect threats, which I'm guessing you will. So, like, I think this is a really powerful card. It's not, like, overly powerful by any means, but I do think it's pretty good. I'm going to leave it here for now. I don't know if I want it more than the Vault Scourge. Pestilence Leader is a 3/3 for 5 mana. You can pay 1 black Phyrexia mana, and it gains Infect until the end of the turn. Don't really like this card. It's a lot of investment for not that big of a payoff. It's a 3/3 on 5, so it's going to be outclassed very, very quickly, if it's not already by the time it comes out. So, again, not too excited about that. Impaler Shriek. 3/1 for 2 and 2 blue with flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, draw 3 cards. This is kind of my kind of card. I really like this. I like the fact that if you feel like it's going to be outclassed, or if it is kind of done doing what it needs to do in terms of dealing its damage, you just sacrifice it and you draw 3. Like, that's huge. Yes, it's a 3/1, so it's going to be able to die pretty easily, but it still has flying. It's going to be evasive. I think that so far this is the best card. Pith Driller, a 2/4 for 4 and 1 black Phyrexia mana. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. This seems like a great card, honestly. I don't think it's amazing, but it's essentially a 4-drop for a 2/4 that either kind of nerfs a creature or brings one down completely, depending on how low its toughness actually is. You can use this in tandem on your second main phase with some sort of attacking or blocking sequence, and hopefully take something out. I think I'd rather have the Impaler still, but I do think that's an okay card. Our first uncommon is Shrine of Limitless Power. 3 mana for an artifact at the beginning of your upkeep, or whenever you cast a black spell, put a charge counter on the shrine, and then pay 4, tap it, and sacrifice it, and target player discards a card for each charge counter on the shrine. There's a whole cycle of these shrines, and the best one is, in my opinion, by far the Shrine of Burning Rage, which just deals straight up damage to the opponent. That's obviously the red one. This one, very unexciting. I don't like it a lot. By the time you can actually get this going, I feel like it's not even worth it. I mean, it was such an investment in the first place, so not a good fan of that. Ooh, this card's great. So Vital Splicer, a 1/1 for 3 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, put a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token onto the battlefield, pay 1 green, and regenerate target golem you control. This is essentially a 2-for-1 no matter what. It's absolutely fantastic. Again, there was a cycle of these, if I'm not mistaken, and I love all of them, so that's a great card. Active Aggression, 3 and 2 red Phyrexia mana. Gain control of target creature and opponent controls until the end of the turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. This is a very classic effect. Active Treason, all that sort of a thing. That's exactly this, basically. This obviously can be paid for a little bit less, but you do have to pay a little extra life to do it. But it is instant speed as well, so there's a lot of little trickery things that you can do with this. I think it's a great card. I don't think it's better than the Splicer just on its own. And then our rare, wow, okay, Surgical Extraction. So, great card. Instant for 1 black Phyrexia mana. Choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's hand, graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card, and exile them. Then that player shuffles his or her library. Absolutely love this card in Constructed. Do not like it in Sealed at all. Absolutely terrible in Sealed, I would say, but hugely valued. I think last I saw it was like 15 to 20 bucks, which is kind of insane because at one point it was like $1. It's really not. It used to be really bad, but it's a really powerful card. I love this. I'm stoked to actually see it, but it's definitely not the card I would pick. I would definitely take the Vital Splicer. A few really good cards in this pack, though, to be honest, so feel free to let me know if you disagree in the comment section below, and we can talk about it there. But if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave a like or a comment down below as well. And of course, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of our awesome content. But with that, I am going to get out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next Crack a Pack episode.